So I'm out here on a service call for a no heat call on this train package unit. Got out here, got up on the roof. I instantly saw one of these disconnects here was off and one was on. I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and this used to be like a dual point before as far as power coming in, and they've changed it now to where it's just a single point power coming in. It would have been nice if they just completely abandoned that thing to begin with and just not had any of the confusion going on, but yeah, they're both on here. Next, I just wanted to verify that the fuses and then the amount of power this thing has going to it was right. There's minimum circuit amps, and then max fuse amps are right here for that's just for the compressor side and everything like that. This is all for the strip heat. I actually have this 320F, which is supposed to be 60 amps. So I just kind of verified all that off the get-go. I just wanted to make sure nothing funny was going on there. I always want to double check when people end up going from the 2 disconnects down to 1. I've just seen a lot of electricians make mistakes on that. So got that done, and then kind of got the panels off and instantly saw nothing was going on. All the lights were off when I had gotten here. So I basically went down, found the breaker panel box, and saw that it was tripped. So it was like in the middle. It wasn't like fully off. So I could tell it tripped. Usually when I see that, my instant thought is short to ground on a compressor, but I wanted to verify. So of course I had to go down the ladder, back down there, turned it on, instantly tripped, came back up here, and for me, I actually decided to just disconnect the low volt wire for just kind of testing purposes, so I can eliminate, make sure there wasn't anything weird with the strip heat or anything with the fan motor or anything like that. So I went ahead and did that, disconnected all those, reapplied power, didn't trip, it held power, so that was a good sign. Making sure there wasn't anything weird with wiring or anything at that point. And then I hooked up the fan motor first. Everything kicked on good with the blower motor. And then next I tested the strip heat. Everything kicked on good there. So worst case scenario at this point, I knew I could get these people heat and just be backup heat. And then I went ahead to test the compressor next, and this unit's a heat pump, and as soon as I touched the low voltage, it like instantly tripped, which made me still think probably short to ground. Next I went over, I obviously killed the breaker, or killed the disconnect, shut it down just to make sure everything was safe, and I ohmed it out. I usually like ohming out from the actual wires, so I'll like disconnect them, this one and then the 2 at the contactor. I don't like pulling the actual plug off. I do realize you can get a little bit more accurate reading, but I also don't like risking. I've just seen those little pegs shoot off a couple times in the past, or gone out to service calls where it's already happened, and I just did a training a long time ago and the guy said just never to do it, it's just not worth it. So after seeing that, I just don't take the risk of like a corroded peg on there. I've just heard a lot of horror stories and stuff like that. So I ended up ohming it out and ohmed it across all 3. This is a 3-phase, and everything was equal, which that was a good sign as far as ohms between the common run start windings. And then I did it to ground, and I had continuity, so I could tell it was something shorted out inside this thing. It's not that old of a system, so I was kind of surprised, but I think it's only like 2 years old. So I'm writing it up for new compressor and start components. And then once I get that in there, I can further test. I'm assuming everything will be good at that point. And then, like I said, I tested the strip heat, so I knew that I could get these guys heat at least. So on the thermostat, I just switched it to EM heat. I have one of those Honeywell Pro 8000s on there, so I just switched it to EM heat. And then I'll put a note in this thing stating that it has a bad compressor. And then as far as the thermostat wire, I'll probably disconnect one of the wires going actually to the contactor. I'll just pull off like the yellow right here and just put some electrical tape over it, just to prevent anything, you know, if someone goes over to the thermostat and like switches it or anything like that, we're not tripping it and back to square one. At the same time, my note, I will state what I did just in case someone else is coming after me. I know I always hate that when guys will disconnect a bunch of wires on stuff to disable something if they didn't leave any notes. Seems like every time that happens, you get out and the wiring schematic's all peeled off and you can't figure anything out. So I always try to leave as much information for the next guy as I can. But yeah, that's basically everything on this particular one. Yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Feel free to leave comments down below. I'm just curious if any of you guys have seen those little pegs shoot off on the compressors or not. Like I said, I know I've seen it, not a ton, but I definitely seen it probably 6 or 7 times in my career, and it's just, I don't know, I've been out on site when it's happened to once, and it freaked the shit out of me. So I'm just curious if anyone else has seen that too. So, but yeah, thanks again for watching, guys.